Hello everyone, and welcome to the second session for today of this episode of our webinar series, Use Cases of the Month. Our topic today is Jira Workflow Toolbox, and we're going to have a closer look at execute remote actions. The recording of the webinar will be available afterwards on our website and on YouTube. So my name is Florian. I am marketing manager at Decadis, and I started my position this month. I'm very happy to be here and be your host for today's webinar. And I'm also excited to take a deeper dive into the world of Jira. And for the information of the webinar, maybe some of you have attended previous webinars from us. And if you don't know about it, the content of our use case webinars are real use cases, and the duration of the webinar is approximately 30 minutes, and you can ask anything in the chat or in the Q&A. Afterwards, we will have some time to get into that questions. And if some questions will arise and you forgot to ask them in the webinar, you can later ask them in the support portal to my colleagues. They will help you with anything. And that's on my part. So I will hand over now to my colleague Nicholas, who is today's speaker of the webinar.
Yeah, thank you, Florian, and also welcome from my side. I've shared my screen. I hope you see that. And then we can dive right into the topic. So as already mentioned, today's topic is JWT with the post function execute remote action. And I've prepared several use cases for you today. So let's start. Short introduction to myself. My name is Nicholas Witt. I have been working with Decadis for over 3 years now, and as an Atlassian certified expert, I have profound knowledge in the common applications for data center as well as in cloud, and the apps that we are providing on the marketplace, our little monsters. I'm also responsible for our customer support, and I work closely with Atlassian certification team to create new courses and evaluate some exam questions. So our today's agenda is I will first introduce you to the post function, have a closer look what we provide there, and then we're gonna go through 3 different use cases. First of all, a translation use case with DeepL. Then we have a look at a HubSpot integration to get some customer information. And the third one is to unleash ChatGPT on your customers and get some support by AI. First of all, the introduction. The execute remote action, when you want to configure it, brings a wizard. We have prepared several action templates for easy configuration of some business use cases on the same or an external Jira or Confluence instance in cloud and data center. So you can create a new project or create a Confluence page, invite or create some users, or trigger anything else on other systems remotely. Additionally to that, we have an expert mode that you can, as an advanced administrator, also configure these settings with individual parameters. And we're going to have a look at this closer later. And to trigger these things remotely, you just need to make sure that the other system has a REST API, so you can execute actions remotely from your Jira instance. And let's have a basic overview and examine these following questions. So first of all, we need to identify the service, what you want to connect to Jira, which could be another Jira instance, software or service management, work management on cloud. It could be Trello, it could be a Confluence or other APIs to connect with Jira, for example, HubSpot, DeepL, or ChatGPT, and there are many more. So it's up to you what you want to connect. And then we have to, let's examine how this service works. So different web services work together by communicating over the internet using a standardized API and a data exchange format such as JSON and XML. And these services can request and respond to each other's action by leveraging RESTful architecture to access and manipulate resources. So authentication, service discovery, as well as asynchronous communication are used to ensure secure and efficient interactions within the interconnection of these web services. Next up, what is required for a connection? So we have several methods that we can use. For example, a GET method is used to read or retrieve data from a service. We have a POST method to create new data. This is what we are using later. A PUT method to update existing data. And with the delete method, we can remove existing data. And furthermore, it must be clarified how the authentication takes place, either with a basic authentication, so user and password, or you use a bearer token that you just enter. This is then provided via the REST API to the application to authenticate yourself, and then you can use that API. How to handle the data? As already said, we are going to exchange some JSONs or XML files. So we provide, first of all, the URL to the API, and then the API path, which then could be the customer endpoint. And then we have a query parameter, which is then, for example, a limit of 10 if we want to get some customers. And the exchanged file format customer, or for example, in this example, it's employee. We have a name, for example, a salary, and then if this guy is licensed, this is how a structure of a JSON could look like. And yeah, so let's dive right into the use cases. To translate something with DeepL, of course, we need a text that we want to translate, select a language, and a DeepL account to provide that authentication part. And as an output, we get the translated text and the language information. So I've prepared the use cases. Here is the reply that we get from the DeepL API. And in this example, we can really easily see that we have here the translations that we get as an array. And within that array, we have the detected source language, which is French. You will see that later, and the text, which is then translated into English. And the correct expression to get the response information processed would be then action.response, which is basically the expression to get the response from the API. And then we go into the translations, get all that text, and go for the attribute text here to paste this text then later into a field. So if you want to understand the SME's path, check out our documentation. And now we are going to have a look at the presentation. We got here a support request that was created in French. So we want to translate it without leaving Jira. So I've implemented a execute remote action with the API of DeepL to translate fields to a selected language. This is implemented here in the second tab, Translate to. We can select the action translation, select a language, and hit run. Then the field translate to will be set to English. The detected language will come back as a response from the API, as well as the translated text. And after a few seconds, these two will be filled and we can process that ticket further. Let me reload the page. Okay, reply got delivered, and now we can read this and process that ticket. Before we come to the workflow configuration, I will now show you how to set up these remote actions. And first of all, we start with the connection. So these are already implemented. Let's go into details. For DeepL, we have the base URL api.deepl.com. It's in use, and the configuration of this is as the following, that we give it a name, we select external, enter the API URL, and custom header is also empty. The action that is set up is translation here. The post method is used here, and DeepL provides a free API, so you just need to create an account and you can enter your authentication key here. And the action body looks as the following, that we parse the text, replace in the description all the breaks with HTML tag to not break this expression. Then we use the target language that we are we have selected in our post function in this field, and use the get matching value to match the actual word Dutch to the language short form NL, and then we can save this, set it up, and use that action. So here in the workflow, this translation post function. So let's configure that from scratch. Add the post function, then select execute remote action by JWT, click add, and then you first see that we have also a wizard for easy connection to have access to the basic things, for example, to create a page in Confluence on cloud as well as on-prem. You can create projects in your instance or in external instances. You can create a space, create external issue links, create an issue comment. We can get related assets, transition issues. We can create a project component as well as create a project version. We can create a user in on-prem. We can invite a user on cloud, add some links to issues, or log a work, also in both on-prem and cloud. And additionally to the pre-configurations here, we have the expert mode, where you can configure that individually. That's what we're going to do now as an action. You have them also here, but we are using the translation action. Connected is the DeepL connection. So this will be picked automatically. We don't need to customize the action because this is already done in the customization setup. And here we enter two fields. It's the detected language, where we use an expression action.response.translations. Then we have square brackets and put a star inside of that because we want to match the whole text. And then we say detected source language. This is what the reply of this JSON leads to the short form of the language. And then, of course, we want the translated text as well. We go to the same path of the JSON, action response translations, gets the value text, and replace the HTML breaks with normal line breaks. Then we can add this. We don't need any conditional executions or further configuration, so we can add this post function, and we are done. Okay, I hope you could follow. Otherwise, we are going through that process 2 times again. For HubSpot, to get some customer information, this is the next use case. We need a customer identifier, for example, an email address, and of course a CRM system again with authentication. And as an output, we get the related database information of our customer. So let's have a look at the demonstration. Additionally to the translation, I have implemented another execute remote action to get additional contact information from our CRM HubSpot. So we have the reporter's email address. And if I go now to this action HubSpot, we can gather additional information that are coming from our customer relationship management. Let me reload the page. And here we see that all the contact information that are available, like the company, the address, the city, as well as some phone and mobile numbers and the email address from our customer are now available in the ticket as well. This helps us with billing and contacting the requesters. For the configuration of the HubSpot integration, same procedure. We enter a base URL. This time we need an authentication as a bearer token. So let's have a look at the configuration. Select external, add the URL, add your bearer token here. We could click bearer or basic or no authentication, say update, put your token inside of that field and save that connection as an action, get contact. This would be the REST API path, CRM, and using the search action, again implemented as a post method. And the action body of this configuration would look as the following, that we first filter by groups, add a filter, then the value, use the reporter's display name, which is an email address. Then we say this property is an email with the operator in that we give it inside of HubSpot to get a response. And the properties that we are specifying are company, address, city, phone, mobile phone, and email. This is the content that we want as a reply, and limit that it should search for 10 and give us only the first. And we can save this and have a look at the post function. HubSpot is here. The post function is already set up. You saw the demonstration earlier. And the configuration is also very easy because the parameters are configured, and we just set up the contact information field with a parsed expression and set it up as a table. So basically, we use this first line, copy it, enter the different headers, and get their matching values of the JSON file, which is located under action, response, results, and then properties. That's it. We can update that, and we are done. Okay, to come to the next use case. This time we will use ChatGPT to support our agents where when they get a support request, so we have a text that is or a request in text form and an open AI account with the authentication again, and the output is the ChatGPT response. So this is what we then get in reply and put it inside of Jira to have some information to work with. To get some support to create a reply to this ticket, we can use ChatGPT. So let's go to Actions, click on ChatGPT, and this request will be now forwarded to ChatGPT, and the reply will be then available in this ticket as well. If we have, for example, in this case, a translated version, we check, and we'll see that later, if this field is filled, then we use the translated text to forward to ChatGPT. Otherwise, we use the description here. Let me reload the page. So here is the response from ChatGPT regarding the request of the customer. to get a demonstration for Jira Workflow Toolbox. He gives some information about the objective of this demo. He requested some key features, the benefits that they want to explore in the demo, as well as how it could help them with their needs in specific IT service management needs. And yeah, this is really helpful. Another use case that I can show you is this request here, where someone requested some help with advanced roadmaps. So here we have the description in English. So let's trigger ChatGPT and get a reply, or at least some help, what we can reply to this customer. So the response of ChatGPT regarding a new hierarchy level for advanced roadmaps structure is how we can configure that in Jira. So we can do that and notify the customer that these changes are implemented. Last time, through the remote action configuration for the connection of the ChatGPT of OpenAI, this is the URL. As an authentication, we use a bearer token again. Customized header is empty, so we can go to the actions. I have set up 2 different actions because on this service portal reply we use the description field. In the body, in the action body, here is the description field used. Again, with that, replace the line breaks. And if we have a translated field specified in the post function, we use the translated text field. And yeah, for the model, we use GPT-4 Turbo. As a message, we enter the role user and then the content, provide a quick overview of the following topic, then we give it the summary. We need to escape the quotation marks and the associated description. Again, escaped quotation marks, and then we can save that and go to the configuration in our workflow. So the post function looks as the following. This time we have 2 different post functions where I said we check if the translated the translate to language is selected. Then if the translated to field is empty, we use the first one to use the description. If it's not empty, we use the second post function to use the translated text field. So let's have a look at the configuration. The action is OpenAI Service Portal. The connection is the default connection that is selected here. So the customized action uses the following URL. You already saw the parameter that we use for this query. And as an update field, we set the ChatGPT response field used as a parser action, and use the action response choices in square brackets, and then we go to message and then content to get the actual reply that is delivered by the API, and parse that text into the field. Here is again the condition. If this field is empty, we use the description, otherwise we use the translated text. And that's basically it. Okay, this is so
to get some
from the use cases. So here are some helpful links to our documentation on cloud as well as on-prem. And if you have any problems, any issues, or need support with any configuration or have any questions, please reach out to us on our support portal. And yeah, now I'm happy to answer your questions. I hope you brought several with you.
First of all, thank you, Nicholas, for the interesting use cases you brought and the insights on Jira Workflow Toolbox. Yeah, now it's time for your questions. As I check the Q&A, there's no question for now.
Mhm.
And I don't see anything in the chat, so maybe the webinar was so good that there are no questions.
Sounds good. So if you have anything that you want to ask or maybe have a look in detail again, let me know.
Oh, there's a question coming in.
Yes, I see it. Yes, this post function is also available on Data Center. No worries, it's not cloud only. We have implemented that on both. Perfect.
Okay, seems everyone is happy. All right. Great. So if there aren't any more questions coming up, yes, it will be sent out. The recording will also be uploaded on our homepage and on our YouTube channel. You can find it there. Maybe beginning of next week.
Yeah, we do also have a use case library where you find some of the use cases that are available from our pre-configurations, as well as some additional to help you set up the connections as well as the actions. And yeah, if there are no further questions.
All right. Well, then, thank you all for joining. And if you have future questions, you can ask them in our support portal to my colleagues. And you can also mark the next seminar will be also end of July. It's always the last Wednesday of the month. So it will be the 31st of July.
Mm-hmm.
And be sure to check our announcements and reminders on LinkedIn and X.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And thanks for your attention and have a great day all.
Yeah, thank you for attending the webinar and have a good day. Goodbye.